All right, here we are, another Friday Facebook Live. Today is Friday, June 23rd. Cannot believe how fast this year and this month and this life is going by. It's not fair, is it? But
No.
everybody, I have a very, very special guest today. We're going to be discussing a topic that I guarantee that you guys haven't delved into to an extent, probably in your lives. And her name is Lisa. Lisa, how do I pronounce your last name?
Acocella.
Acocella, Lisa Acocella. And we're going to be talking about all things Feng Shui. This is so exciting for me because I've always been kind of a Feng Shui space comfort kind of guy. But everybody, let me know where you are tuning in from today and how much you love your city. And the reason is Lisa is in the hunt for the next perfect move into the right city that has just that right feel for her. So let's help her out make that decision. Lisa, welcome to the Facebook Live.
Thank you, Rip. It's so fun to be here.
Yeah. Now, where are we talking to you from today? What city are you in?
I'm in sunny San Diego.
And why do you say sunny like that?
I say sunny because I thought it was always sunny in San Diego, but I've been here for the month of June and it just got sunny on Monday. So that's why.
So why is that? Because has it been overcast there or what's been going on?
It has. It's been chilly and overcast. And then there would be these little smacklings of sunlight in the late afternoon. And then finally summer arrived and it's beautiful.
Yeah. So this isn't the cloudiness is not from the Canadian wildfires then?
That is right. No.
Okay. All right. So just to give you guys a little bit of a background, Lisa and I met in April of 2023 at our Black Mountain outside of Asheville, North Carolina, retreat, plantstrong retreat. And what happened is it was a lunch or a dinner. Lisa, I can't recall. Maybe you can.
It was lunch.
Okay. It was lunch. And I always like to sit at a different table at every meal and get to know as many of the participants as we can. We had about 90 participants in Black Mountain. And there was this beautiful woman sitting at a table all by herself. And I was like, wow, I need to say hello and visit with this woman that had this great energy, this great vibe. And so I said, do you mind if I sit down? She said, no, not at all. And then I asked her, why did you sit down at this table as opposed to some of the other ones that also had space, but also had people at them? And what was your response?
I said that I wanted to sit with spaciousness because in Feng Shui, space equals opportunity.
Exactly right. Exactly. And from that, I mean, after that comment, it was like we were on and I was like, talk to me about this. So where and when was it in your life, Lisa, that you kind of delved into Feng Shui and that space equals opportunity?
So it was in 2000. I was opening my first chiropractic and nutrition practice on Highway 101 in Encinitas, California. Wow. And some friends of mine, they were raw vegan chefs and their best friend was a Feng Shui expert. And so it was my first introduction into Feng Shui, and I met him. His name was Aiden, and he came and Feng Shui'd my first practice for me, my first office. And I was hooked just from the get-go. And so he was my first teacher. And for I want to say from 2000 through 2010, I used Feng Shui for myself, for family and friends. And then I finally said, I need to get professionally certified so that I can, just offer it to the masses and, sort of have felt like I had learned everything I possibly could.
So there actually is a Feng Shui certification.
Absolutely. And there's actually a lot of amazing teachers that do this. And I always tell people, if you're interested in getting certified, go to the International Feng Shui Guild, which is IFSG, International Feng Shui Guild.org. And they have a list of all the amazing certified teachers.
Got it. And do you know, like, are there many certified Feng Shui instructors, practitioners across the United States?
I know that I won't say that there are hundreds, but what I know is that similar like in health, we have our focus on plantstrong. There's also different schools of thought around Feng Shui.
Yeah.
And so it has breadth as well as depth. And I think the easiest thing is to play around with it on your own. And then if you want more, to sort of trust, like I would say to the people listening, somehow they found you and plant strong, and it will unfold that same way with Feng Shui.
So let's go back to that first individual that Feng Shui'd your office.
Yes.
So what did he do? And did you notice a difference immediately?
I noticed a difference immediately. And the starting off with Feng Shui really is, a lot of people think that Feng Shui needs to happen first. Like a blank canvas or an empty home or an empty office. And Feng Shui actually works best when you're already situated in a space. So I had already moved into my office and decorated my office and felt good about my office.
Yeah.
And been there a few months. And that's what I would say. It's usually like it's ideal if someone's in a space, if it's brand new, at least 3 to 6 months, but even better if you've been someplace longer. And here's why. There's really 3 major rules in Feng Shui. We already talked about the first one, space equals opportunity.
Yeah.
And the second one is that what's going on in your life is going on in your house or the places that we spend the most time. So the way to unpack that is really our home becomes a holographic representation, or our office becomes a holographic representation of our life. And so really the Feng Shui consultant is an observer, a listener, and a detective, because the way that we talk about what we like, what we don't like, what we want more of, what we don't have, shows up in our surroundings. And it's really easy for someone to come in and listen to you objectively and then, find the small hinges that move the big doors. So you can, think that a lot of stuff needs to happen in Feng Shui, but it's really looking for those big pivotal pieces, sort of like how we feel about eating greens.
Right. So I found what you just said, the second point. So obviously space equals opportunity. That seems very, very basic and makes a lot of sense to me. But when you said that, what's going on in your life is going on in your home, and how a lot of times maybe your home or your office is what was the word used? Holograph?
Yeah, a holographic representation of us.
Of us. I just, to me also seems so spot on. And I cannot stand it when certain parts of my house, our house, get completely just unorganized, messy. And I feel like when it happens, it's an extension of what's going on in our lives. And with three kids, you know, a wife, pets, things can get kind of out of hand and crazy in a heartbeat. And so to me, it's really important to stay on top of that. So space equals opportunity. What's going on in, you know, in your home is maybe going on in your life. Is there a third?
Yes. The third one is what's closest to you has the most impact on you. And so literally that starts with, of course, what we're choosing to put inside our mouths to nourish our body. That's the ultimate. And then the second layer of that is literally what we're choosing to surround ourselves with in terms of clothing. And, you know, right before we switched on, I think I was talking about comfort at all costs, you know, so all of us have a way we want to be and feel. And then the third layer of that is where we spend the most time. So even in our homes, there's places where we naturally gravitate and spend the most time. And those tend to be the most important. And so the biggie here, of course, is the bedroom, because even if we're not all sleeping 8 hours a night, theoretically, a third of our life is spent in our bedroom. And then the second place is the kitchen. And now a lot in open concept homes, it's kitchen dining room, because the kitchen nourishes the house. And then the third place will be where we spend the most time when we're not in our bedroom, we're in the kitchen dining room. And so everyone has like a favorite place they gravitate to.
Yeah, it is funny how we do. Can we start with the bedroom? You mentioned the bedroom and how important that is. So
yes,
what are some of your like overarching thoughts around the bedroom and how a maybe ideal feng shui bedroom should look and feel?
So with the bedroom, especially if you share that space with a partner, what's the ultimate is that both people have collaborated on the bedroom, and that there aren't any like hidden, like, oh, I don't really like those sheets, I just told her that she could have those sheets, you know, like literally the bedroom, when it's shared space, needs to be a collaboration where both people love it. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, there just is whatever's on the walls and whatever's on the windows and on the bed, both people equally get joy from and feel good about. That there's not an energy of settling. That's really important. And then, of course, I'm going to say something now that I promise you 100% of all feng shui consultants agree on. And that is that there should be no TV in the bedroom. And of course, I'm sure people are going, no. And that is to literally anchor in that the bedroom is for sleep and connection and sensuality, not for catching like one more episode of whatever you're watching right before bed. And I will stop right here and say, okay, so if you have a TV in the bedroom, you don't get a feng shui F, you don't get a fail, but it's important to have some way to cover that up when not in use, whether it's in, you know, a cabinet that can be closed with, you know,
the doors.
Thank you. Or, you know, I even have some people that just take a beautiful scarf that ties in with their decor and covers the unit when not in use. But the ideal is not to have one. And The other reason that I really like, I just want to stay on TVs for a second, is I just think that any invitation we can have to unplug uh, and truly connect, we all need more of that, and especially in the place where we sleep and connect, and alone. If even if you're not connecting with a partner, you're connecting with yourself, and just creating that opportunity to have more of that.
So everybody listening, I'm gonna hog Lisa's brain here for probably the next 10, 15 minutes or so. But then I want to open it up to all of you. So please feel free to throw questions into the chat as we go along here. So we're still in the bedroom. And Lisa, I want to ask you this. And this maybe isn't a feng shui thing, but it certainly is a comfort thing for me. And I'm very like my shirts have to be 100% cotton, silky-ish. I'm very sensitive to tags, dirty sheets, pillows, stuff of that nature. And so I have to change the sheets of the bed at least once a week. And to me that's comfort above all else. Do you have any thoughts on sheets and changing sheets and things of that nature?
I do. So I think the ideal, really, that everyone choose a fabric that feels good to them. And, and I know that this is where personal preference is really important. And like when you're sharing a bed, that both people have to love it. And so this is where I say enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And especially like with pillows. So there's a couple of things I want to say about bedrooms. So like I think for instance, let's say this is just for example, you really are like, hey, I'm on once a week. Yep. The sheets need to be changed. But let's just say, for example, that your wife was like, I can go every 2 weeks. This is where compromise really comes in. So whenever there's a tolerance, the lowest tolerance gets honored. Okay, so that's really important. And I also want to say a couple things more about decor in a bedroom, is that it really is ideal in bedrooms for the nightstands on each side of the bed to be matching. And the lamps on those nightstands to be matching. And
what's the reason for that?
It is a way to anchor in harmony for couple energy. And the reason I say that is most people, if they're not partnered, they want to hold space for that. And so that is one way to do that. And another reason is, and it's fascinating, is that that when the nightstands and the lamps aren't matching, it can set up energetically a power dynamic between couples. And so I'll give you an example. So I've seen this on many occasions where one partner will be complaining about the other, or something going on that has manifested in their relationship. And I'll walk into the bedroom and the partner with the largest nightstand is the one that is sort of in the higher position in the couple. And I'm like, we got to balance that out, stat, like literally. And that's what I mean about, one might not be able to see it in their own bedroom without possibly taking a photo, because sometimes some of this becomes apparent without you having to dial in a feng shui consultant. You can literally take pictures of your spaces, and you might not be able to see it when you're looking at it. But when you look at a photo, you'll go, wait a minute, why do you get the larger nightstand? What's that about?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I find lighting and lamps and, because if one of us wants to go to sleep and the other one wants to stay up and read, that can sometimes be an issue.
yes, that, and, one of the things that I will say, because oftentimes with lamps, maybe someone will want a brighter light bulb and the other person will want a lesser
Yeah.
watt light bulb. And that's where I say, this is where I'm a little bit of stickler. If you're sharing space, that the wattage really needs to be the same. Like, I like even not just the wattage, but the brand to be exactly the same. And then of course, if someone's up reading, my answer to that is 100% silk sleep masks. And so this is where, again, and that they feel great. They feel great. So, Rip, you might have to mask up sometimes. That's all I'm saying to you.
Well, I want you to know that I have been masking up now for about 6 months, and it makes a world of a difference for me. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
And I've got a very nice, I can't remember the brand, but it's very, very cozy.
Okay.
Yeah. So follow Addie V wants to know, she heard that the head of the bed should be north and the feet should be south. Is there any validity to that?
What I want to say is that there is a school of Feng Shui called Compass School that is directionally based. And then there are other schools of Feng Shui that are based on literally going with where the front door lies on the house. And what I think is the most important about a bedroom is not the direction that your bed faces, but that your bed is on a wall that ideally is solid. And I say ideally because if it's not solid, like if there's some windows on that wall, we can work with it. And that brings up another thing I want to say, which is that there should be no fear in Feng Shui. That Feng Shui is only meant to support, to foster more balance, ease, and flow in one's life, and not to make you fear that you're living in a place that has bad Feng Shui. And the other piece of what I was saying about bed placement is in Feng Shui, we like to call it the armchair position, meaning that when you're sitting in the places, if your bed where you sleep and the places where you spend the most time sitting, that you're in a position where you have the ability to see the door. And, if we go back to Westerns, you got your back against the wall so you can see what's coming at you. And that's the armchair position.
That's interesting. So you think it is important that from where your head is, if you just lift it up, you can see the bedroom door.
Yes. And that doesn't mean that the door needs to be in front of you. It just needs to be in your field of vision, as opposed to on the same wall that your bed is on.
Yeah. Isn't that something? I definitely adhere to that. I think I'm just going back through all my bedrooms, and I think I've always adhered to that. It's interesting, and people that tuned in last week know this. So our whole family, we just took an Alaskan cruise last week, and we had a little family suite, and my wife and I had this little master bedroom. It was a king size bed, which we love the space because the space is opportunity, but we love the space of a king. But literally the bedroom was maybe it was not very high ceilings and only maybe 1.5 feet on both sides of the bed. And then there was a kind of I guess you call it a roll-away door, right? That was maybe 2 feet in front of the bed. And we slept so well in this little tiny, dinky, very dark, very quiet room.
So this brings up two things. So one of the things are that actually all of us sleep better in cozier spaces. And so and and so you were experiencing that. Like and bedrooms have gotten bigger, especially master bedrooms. They're just enormous. And so just if I can unpack space equals opportunity a little bit more, it's like to think three-dimensionally about the space where we spend the most time. And so what happens for a lot of us is our horizontal surfaces get really filled up with stacks of stuff, with things we're going to attend to, or with collections of things we love. And that's where also taking a picture, and by horizontal spaces, I don't just mean like tables and shelves, I mean our floors. And we can take a photo and start to see hey, a lot more of our house is living outside instead of maybe in drawers, cabinets, shelves, etc. And that's just sort of, again, I like to think of it as a 50% space to stuff ratio. Like if you notice that you're starting to get over that 50% threshold, you're diminishing some opportunity.
Got it. Do you think there's anything else that we should talk about regarding the bedroom?
I think that one other thing about the bedroom that sometimes gets overlooked is to be mindful of your art. So, of course, if you're sharing space, both parties need to love whatever's on the walls, but also to think about what you're choosing to put up, because art really reflects what draws us to it, but it also is echoing that in a bedroom. So if you have really vibrant, loud art, that might be something that you want to see if you can get something more soothing. And this is where art is very telling in Feng Shui. And so I have three favorite quotes, and my third favorite quote actually came from Plantstrong at Black Mountain this year, when Adam Fudd said in his talk that you want to make your environment match your goals. and nothing that just ties in so much with food, our food, and our kitchens, and also with how we're setting up, the spaces that we spend the most time. So in the bedroom, thinking about what we want our goals to be, and just making sure that what we're choosing to put on our walls is in alignment with that.
Good. Yeah. What's on the walls? I'm thinking about our walls right now, and it's a nice combination of my wife and myself. And I don't think one of us is overpowering the other there, and we're very happy with everything. What's over the biggest thing over the bed is a piece that we loved on our honeymoon. We we went to Machu Picchu and we hiked the Inca Trail, and it was a piece that we got on that trip.
So see, that is actually ideal, because it was a piece from something you were doing together at an incredibly fun and romantic time, and that is really anchoring that energy in your bedroom, and that's great.
Yeah. All right, why don't we move to another room of the house?
Sure.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, before moving to another room, there is something that's really, really important in Feng Shui.
Yeah.
And that is our front door.
Oh, okay.
And so the thing that I wanted to say there is, just like our nutrients enter our bodies through our mouths, energy, and what I like to call opportunities and possibilities, enters our home through our front door. And um, and so it's really important that you love your front door, and that your front door be visible from the street. And so what I always like to tell people to do is, if you're living in a home, or you're living in an apartment and your door faces the outside, you need to stand, like at your house, I would go stand across the street and look at your front door and make sure that no branches from trees or a tree itself is blocking your front door, that the front door is completely visible, and also that that it is not in disrepair. So, and I like to say that you should love your front door. You should love your welcome mat. You should love the look of your door. You should love whatever you have in that space outside the front door. That your front door should give you joy. It doesn't matter if your front door gives somebody else joy, because you want to be building up your vibrations of pleasure with the choices you have made where you live. And if you are in an apartment and your door just faces a hallway, the same still goes. You want to love your door. You want to love your welcome mat. And the last piece of this, and I call it a non-negotiable, is you got to keep your front door clean. And this is important because life gets busy and we might not think about it, but energy is always entering our front door, and you're wanting to attract that flow of energy, that flow of opportunities and possibilities to come to your door. And you do that just sort of like a bird making a nest, by really taking pride in how it looks. And so the second piece of that goes into door maintenance. So if your door squeaks when you open it, if it doesn't open and close with ease, those are things that can start showing up in your life. Tying that back into what's going on in your home is going on in your life.
It's interesting. I'm surprised. I hear what you're saying about the front door and how important it is to be welcoming, to be clean, maintained. I sometimes think that we go days without ever using our front door because we're using the garage,
which is very common. And so all doors matter, and the front door matters because in the birth of the home, that is like the architecturally intended mouth of chi, or mouth of energy, just like, our mouths. And so what I say when it's not like the primary mode of entry and exit, I always tell people, with some consistency that works for you, at least once a week, I just say, open that baby wide and invite in the fresh air and, a good day. And
well, we want that door to look good when we have the Amazon delivery photo, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's really good info on the front door and the bedroom. Love it. Let's talk kitchen.
Okay.
Because it's incredible to me, the difference when I go into a home and I'm like, oh, I love this kitchen. And then a kitchen that just doesn't work for me. It feels crowded, cramped, messy, stuff everywhere. I'm just like, how can somebody live like this? So kitchen, what are some of the kitchen feng shui basics that you can share?
So kitchens can clutter really quickly because, they are like a primary huddle space in a house. And so a big thing with kitchens are, and I'm going to throw out some organization here. And while feng shui isn't the same as organizing or clutter clearing, that's certainly a foundational principle. And I'm going to say that one of the first places that I would invite anyone to organize or clutter clear is exactly their kitchen.
Mm.
And I'm going to pull from my favorite organizer, who is Andrew Mellon, but I love organizers. And I use the organizational triad, which is every place has one home. And when it's not being used, it's in that one home. So the organizational triad is that you put like with like, everything has one home, and then something in, something out. Meaning when you have your kitchen fully organized and you bring something new into your kitchen, then something's going to go. So like if you up level your cookware or your containers, like moving from maybe plastic to glass, then not only do you want all those containers living in the same area in your kitchen, when you have new coming in, some of that old needs to leave. And so if we just try this on, so when something's not in use, like, so let's say we have some really great knives, but we're not chopping, then they need to live in the knife block or in the knife drawer.
Yeah.
And I love, like, there's so many ideas around this. I saw a book recently, like, where the picture of the refrigerator looked stellar. And I think the name of the book was Fridge Love or something. And so again, the invitation going from organizing to Feng Shui is not that you just have, like with like and everything having a home, but then that what you have, you love, that you love your utensils. You are thrilled with your blender, how you're putting it together gives you pleasure. And this is where also I want to say that it's not about perfection, because the kitchen really is meant to nourish the home, nourish not only the occupants of the space, but whoever might be joining you in your space. And so again, what we're always wanting to go for is, does it bring us joy? And like Rip, you already said how you like your kitchen to be, and that energy of when that kitchen is reflecting back to you, that benefits all of the occupants of the space.
Oh my. I mean, I find that having a nice, clean, organized kitchen that is not an absolute pigsty, it affects my mood, my energy, my happiness, all that stuff. And so to me, this whole thing about Feng Shui is, I mean, to me at a deeper level, it affects, I think, whether we have the level of our joy and happiness.
And, one of the things that I say, absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree. And one of the things that I just want to put out here is really everything is energy. There are no outliers. Like, everything is comprised of energy. And really, that is exactly what we're doing with Feng Shui, is that we're wanting our spaces to be revitalizing, nourishing, harmonizing, and in alignment, pulling from Adam said, an alignment with our goals and what we're wanting. And that's where also I want to say that Feng Shui is not a one and done thing, because we're always evolving, growing, are gaining in things we're intrigued and interested about. And it's great to have our spaces reflecting, what we're moving into and moving toward.
Yeah. Everybody, feel free to put questions in the chat for Lisa as we continue this conversation about Feng Shui. I do want to take a break right now and just give a little shout out to our next retreat, and you're the perfect, guest to be here on board because you just went to Black Mountain. But our next one's in Sedona. It's in early October. Magical Red Rocks of Sedona. As Lisa can attest, we have a world-class team. The food is spectacular. The environment in Sedona, unlike Black Mountain, it was very lush and green and water, which I love the feng shui of water. This is much more of a fierce, austere beauty that we have in Sedona. But we're about 55% full right now. So we have capacity for about 30 more people, 35 more people. We'd love to have you attend. We're going to have 2 indoor pickleball courts, Lisa, as well. But what were some of the highlights that you can recount from your experience?
Okay, so my highlights are this. It was wonderful. The speakers, the presenters that came. I mean, I just felt like everyone was so generous with their time that what was shared was current, cutting edge material. Nothing was felt outdated. And also just how authentic and approachable everyone that was, participating by presenting were. I mean, I just felt like I gleaned so much, not just from the sessions, but also from the generosity of time and attention that everyone gave. So that was one. And then, of course, just all the events that you had planned and your stellar staff. Oh my God. I mean, I think that plantstrong really has a blueprint that other types of venues can learn from. I mean, I just feel like you have a top-notch team. And then, of course, lastly, the food. Come on. I mean, it was plentiful and delicious and, fully 100% on point. So it's a great invitation for whether someone wants to try out living this way or just wants to come and be an amazing community, which is, I think, the last thing I will say. I was not prepared for just how connected we all became as a group and how nourishing those connections are. And
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. The coming together, the sense of community. When we left that last day, how I think we all felt like we were one big family. We truly did. So anyway, all that to say, we'd love to have anybody that's interested join us in Sedona in October. Well, thanks for that commercial break. So I'm going to throw some questions up here from people that
Sure.
That I'm really liking. So here, let's see this one. I'm getting here late, but is there a feng shui book that can help me in my living space that a regular person could understand?
Sure. So, I mean, there are so many, but I'm going to tell you what my all-time favorite is, even though it was written, a while ago. But it is fun, it is lighthearted, and the information is solid. And that is Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life by Karen Rowe Carter. And that is Karen Carter, Carter. She also has a second book, Make a Shift, Change Your Life. And that is sort of the graduate course. And that really ties into our mindset. And, mindset is a part of everything. And I think science is even showing now more than ever that we need to have our thoughts and feelings be aligned with our goals.
Nice. This is a really, really good question, and it's one that I had for you. So I'm glad that Marley asked it. Can you discuss how to position mirrors in the home?
Sure. So mirrors in the home, this is something that really is unique to each room. And I'll give some examples. So mirrors can either create space or reflect. So in other words, sometimes when you walk into a front door of a home, you will be met with pretty quickly with a wall. And that is an example where you can place a mirror that actually elongates and gives a sense that you're not just walking in a door and hitting a wall. And then another time we want mirrors to reflect. And so I'll give another example of reflection. So and I'll tie this into a bigger piece. And the bigger piece is the tenet that there should be no fear in Feng Shui.
Yeah.
When I say that, like sometimes in a bedroom, you can't get an optimal position of the bed, but there's always a fix in Feng Shui, and those fixes are called enhancements or adjustments. And so what we can do sometimes, to give an example of mirror placement, is we can say, hey, I can place a mirror in my bedroom, even though I might not be able to see the door, where the door of my bedroom is reflected in the mirror, and I can look at the mirror and see the door. And I'm going to just stay in bedrooms for a second. So one of the things with mirror placement that I don't like to see is a wall of mirrors or mirrored sliding closet doors that reflect your bed. Because again, we want to not create multiples of what's in the bedroom. So in other words, we don't want multiple couples in the bedroom. And that's what can happen in mirrors. Like you're multiplying who's in the bedroom, basically. And that impacts quality of sleep. So that's just an example. And the easy fix, if you have a wall, like a wall of mirrors, is you just put a great curtain up that at night you pull to create a wall instead of a wall of mirrors.
Yeah, good. I like that a lot. So this is from, but before we dive into this question, I know you do consultations. If people want a consultation with you, how do they get in touch with you?
They can email me at Dr. Lisa, DRLISA, at fengshuiyourspaces.com. They can also call or text my phone number, which is not my direct line, but it is 860-266-5729. And if you email me, call me, or text me, I will respond in a timely manner.
And Feng Shui is the spell. I think, how do you spell it? Because a lot of people may not know how to spell Feng Shui, because it's pretty funky.
Yes. So Feng Shui is F as in Frank, ENGSHUI. So fengshuiyourspaces.com.
Yeah. Is Feng Shui is it a Japanese word?
It is. It's Chinese, and it actually means wind. Feng is wind, and Shui is water. So it's wind and water. Oh. And that is the literal. That's the literal interpretation.
Two of my favorite elements. I love wind and water. All right, Palma Casara wants to know: is there a certain way to set up my eating space table dishes when it's time to eat?
So this is where I say, if you're talking about like setting the table, I like to go with, I'm not Mrs. Manners, but this is where I would say I would want you to be loving your plates and bowls, and then how are you eating? Like I tend to be a big bowl person. Yeah. So, so again, it's joy and pleasure and what you're having for the meal. And I know some people like to bring it out and have like all the components of their bowl on the table. And that is A-okay if you have space for it. And if you don't, and you like to have some sort of a buffet set up, or like file through the kitchen or a place on the island, and then have more space at the table. And so again, really, it's the components of it where it fosters flow and ease, especially for the cook.
I think I maybe told you this when we were in Black Mountain, but we recently put a round Lazy Susan table in our dining room instead of eating around our kitchen counter in the kitchen. And it has made just a world of a difference when it comes to dinner time, us having really constructive, wonderful conversations, connecting, putting down the phone. And this has just become really a sacred space for our family. And it's one of my favorite times of the day.
So see, literally, I mean, I just love this as a perfect example of like, now your dining is nourishing. I mean, not just the tissue cells of your body, but all of the occupants of your home. That's perfectly said.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is a great question from Eliza. Seems like a lot of people, including me, have a front room in their house with a dining table that's almost never used. Tips for making it more inviting and functional?
Okay, so here's the deal. A lot of us have at least one room in our house that's really not being used. And so this is where I want to give blanket permission to change that room. Is there something else that you and your family might be enjoying more to have in that space, especially if you're eating someplace else? And what I want to say is, and if you want to literally have it be the dining room, and have it be a place where everyone's convening, that's where I like the example that you just gave, Rip, of what can foster us using this room. What about it aren't we liking and loving? Like, does it need a giant Lazy Susan? Do we need more comfortable chairs?
Yeah.
And so I would start by, let me take a picture of this space. Is there something that I see by looking at the picture that already is not ideal for me? And how can I solve it? And then this might be something fun to also like have a conversation about it with who you're sharing space with. Why don't you like being in here? How can we change it? Because collaboration also builds the opportunity for creative solutions.
Nice. Yeah, we had not used that dining room that was right as you come in the front door. It had just been a place with a chair and really nothing else for 5 or 6 years. And then we put the Lazy Susan in there, and it's been transformative. So, yeah. All right. Here's some more great questions. This is Lori Williams. How about houseplants? Are they good in any room?
Houseplants are good just so long as they are alive. Okay. And so the couple things here is, so we want them to be vibrant. And I know I have tried to save many a plant, and as it's diminishing in life. And I just want to say that is, quote, not good feng shui. So you want your plants to be green and healthy. And I will say that plants are good in any room. A caveat is this: I don't like to see too many plants in the bedroom. Some is fine. And so what constitutes too many is literally just to remember that we want to easily be able to rest and to be calm, and not like having a plant hanging anywhere near where we might be sleeping. I've seen a couple of bedrooms that have like the big plants sort of coming over the head of the bed, and I'm like, sorry, we are going to repurpose those in another room.
Oh, so you're not a fan of the plant canopy.
That's exactly right.
All right. How about this? Where do you start when you are overwhelmed?
Okay. So first of all, one of the things that's so great about feng shui is less is more, and it doesn't need to be done in a day. And this is where I am a huge fan of saying that you start in your bedroom or in the kitchen. And when you start by setting a timer for 15 minutes.
Oh, nice.
And oftentimes the answer to where to specifically start can come really quickly when you just pull out your phone and shoot a picture of the space, because your attention will naturally be pulled to the area. And I would say that's the area. Like where your eyes go is where you want to start. And what I like about setting an actual timer is this, because then after 15 minutes, you can feel successful with whatever you've done. And if it's too overwhelming, then sometimes I like to just say, trade off with a friend, so you come help me do me, and then I'll go help you do you. And then if you want more, that's where a consult, be it virtual or in person, can come into play.
Nice. So if you're just joining us, Lisa, will you again give us the phone number where people can reach out to you
Sure.
if they would like a consult?
It's 860-266-5729.
Okay. So I want to circle all the way back to where we started this conversation. You right now are in sunny San Diego, but you're going to be making a move here in the next couple of weeks. You're looking to find the city that has that feeling and that feng shui that that resonate with you. Everybody, do you want to share like what you're thinking right now, and if people have any thoughts around that?
Sure. So I'm on a search for my new home, and I'm currently in San Diego, and I am going to be going to Northern California at the beginning of July. And I would love to hear where you live and why you love it. I'm considering visiting the Santa Fe, New Mexico area, and also looking at the Asheville area in North Carolina, as well as the Wilmington, North Carolina area. But I'd love to hear any suggestions, especially if you love where you live.
Yeah. Everybody, let's pitch in and help Lisa. Although I think those are really good places that you've picked, narrowed them down to. I would tell you, probably don't come to Austin. It's just there's just too much going on here right now.
I have several friends that live in Austin. One is my friend that I've had literally since first grade, and even she says, "Don't come to Austin; it's gotten too crowded." So I'll just come for visits, but I won't move there.
Yeah, come for a visit. Let's go get a bite for sure. We also talked about like Fort Collins, Colorado, Boise. Was it Boise? Is that Montana or Idaho? But Coeur d'Alene. These are all kind of places that have potential. We also talked about Bend, Oregon.
Yes, Bend, Oregon. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. People are wanting to know about colors. So do you have any thoughts on colors in bedrooms in the house? Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. And I'm so glad you said this, because, I said that my favorite feng shui book is Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life. And one of the things that Karen Rao Carter says that she wishes she wouldn't have hit so hard was that colors for specific areas of your home. And so literally, if you read that book, don't think that, quote, the prosperity area of your home needs to be purple. This is the rule with color. You should love it. So don't choose a color because of a feng shui rule. Choose a color because you love it. So again, really, what's first and foremost is that your spaces are providing pleasure and joy for each room in your home. And I will say that that also gets to have the energy of fun. The search for your color should be fun.
Yeah.
And if you always need an objective set of eyes, you know, you could, I mean, trust me, I mean, especially with social media, you could just put it up. I'm thinking of painting my bedroom this color and get some thoughts, but I like to go with what gives you joy.
We recently repainted our kitchen. There used to be a kind of a dull yellow. We made it a tangerine orange. And kind of, I think it was my wife got the idea from Jane the Virgin, the series that's out there.
Yes.
The kitchen. And we love it. The whole family loves the tangerine. It works really well for us.
So see, that's like a perfect example. Like you all love it.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for.
Yeah. Yeah. Lisa, this has been a blast. We're a little over an hour now, so we gotta call it quits. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I love saying Feng Shui. It's one of the reasons I met my wife. I think I maybe told you. Her office, the Feng Shui was all messed up. I told her so, and we worked on getting her desk just right and moving some chairs around, and my life has never been the same.
There you go. I call that a Feng Shui success story.
It is. It absolutely is. Well, Lisa, thank you so much. It's great to see you again. I hope to see you, whether it is in Austin or whether it is in Asheville again, who knows? Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
All right. Hey, everybody, keep it plant strong this weekend. All right. Peace out.